diamond from within. BFF, we rise above. Stronger together, we shine with love. Faith unshaken, hearts on fire. Fearless souls, we're reaching high.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the BFF Empowerment Podcast. I am your host, Blaque Diamond, and with me today on the Women on the Rise segment of the BFF Empowerment Podcast, I have the privilege of speaking with Miss Gretta. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's my pleasure. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
You are so welcome. So, first question I have for you is, how did you find the podcast?
Well, I have an agent and she found it for me. So that's how I discovered you.
Oh, wow, because you didn't come through like one of my normal avenues. I was like, I wonder how she found the podcast. I mean, that's great, like definitely. But I was like, I'm curious. Where did she find me? Well, do you mind telling the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Gretta Perlmutter, and I'm a certified post-betrayal transformation coach. I host the Coping with Ghosting podcast, which is all about helping people heal and transform their lives after they've been ghosted or betrayed in relationships. So my entire goal is to help people heal from betrayal, heartbreak, and ghosting. I use evidence-based strategies so that they can rebuild confidence, trust, self-worth, and really just feel good again.
Ooh, I love it. Definitely what we're all about here, healing and trust and building and empowerment and all of that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like you're right up my alley. So how long have you been podcasting?
Oh my goodness. Well, I've been doing it for a couple of years. I'm about to air episode 100. So, I've only been kind of releasing them once a month recently because I've been working on a book. I'm writing Coping with Ghosting in Love. And so I kind of just wanted to pull back from podcasting a little bit to focus on the writing, but it's going to be the ultimate guide to healing your heart after being ghosted in dating, love, situationships, any type of relationship you have that's more than a platonic friend.
Okay. Yeah, I've only been doing it for I think I started in March of 2025. I was always the guest on other people's podcasts,
Got it.
sharing my story and sharing my journey, but I just always had this idea of having my own platform. And I'm like, and on my last podcast interview I actually did that March, I was talking to the host about it. I'm like, you know what? I've always had this idea to do a podcast, but I don't want to do it by myself. And so I was like, I don't really know how to get started. Like, can you kind of tell me? And then it was just like, after we had the conversation and I just sat back and thought about it, I'm like, what are you talking about? You have everything you need right here already. And so, yeah, I just jumped right on it.
That's amazing.
And I've been going strong. So, it's definitely a lot of work because I am a one-woman show. So I do all the editing, producing, everything myself, writing, all of that. But I love it. It's exactly what I wanted. And this is it's my baby.
Aw, I love that for you.
Wow. So with your podcast, is it just dealing with do you have guests come on for interviews, or is it just you kind of, sharing your journey, or how is your podcast?
Both. So I started out with sharing my journey, and then I decided, you know what? I need therapists, I need coaches, I need psychologists, doctors, everybody to come on and join me and share how to heal from this, because ghosting is such a complicated topic. It goes so deep. It really touches on so many different aspects, because it's not just a mental event. It doesn't just create ambiguous loss and heartbreak. It also is a nervous system event, and it wreaks havoc on the entire body. And you can't sleep. A lot of people report that they can't eat, and it just affects all aspects of your life. So I've really taken a holistic approach, and I've needed a lot of people to come on and share their expertise about what goes on in this potentially traumatic event and how to rebuild your life kind of one day at a time after it happens. And also, I wanted to expand it to not just ghosting, but betrayal. So if
Mhm.
somebody's been cheated on, if somebody has had a really good friend who has suddenly just decided to pull away for whatever reason, like, and that was their ride or die, and now they feel completely betrayed and shattered. Like
Mhm.
this podcast is where you can find hope and healing.
I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what ghosting is, but for
Mhm.
someone who may be listening who don't know what the term ghosting means, can you explain that?
Absolutely. And, I think everybody kind of seems to have their own definition of it. And I'm glad you asked because it's important that we're all on the same page. The definition I use comes from the Oxford Dictionary, and it's the practice of ending a personal relationship with someone by suddenly and without explanation, withdrawing from all communication. Now, what's important to note is this is different than leaving an abusive situation without a goodbye. Because
Mhm.
if you need to do that, that's self protection. It's also different than disappearing after a communicated boundary has been violated, which is known as self respect. So ghosting is its own thing.
I love it. I can't honestly say I've ever been ghosted, I guess you would say. Now
Hmm.
I'm sitting here trying to think about it. Like, have I? I don't. I mean, if I was, I probably did. I wasn't aware of it because it wasn't that
Right.
serious or that deep for me to realize, like, oh, okay, especially in the dating world, meeting somebody and starting to talk to them and then they just disappear. Like, I guess it never really affected me because we weren't that connected in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say you're one of the few lucky ones.
Oh wow. So it's very common to be ghosted. Like I've seen people talk about it or I've seen, just posts or things like that, but yeah, I've actually never like had a conversation with someone about being ghosted.
Yeah. So I think that right now there is a ghosting epidemic, if
Hmm.
you will. I think that this is something that happens right and left, especially in the dating world. It's so easy to form a connection online, and it's just as easy to disconnect from that. Press a few
Hmm.
buttons and they're blocked from your entire life. So, for those who haven't experienced it, just consider yourself very lucky because because this I think happens more often than not. And in my life, I'm
Hmm.
really social. I have a lot of friends, a lot of good
Hmm.
friends. And I've always been one of those people that like kind of goes from group to group, like collecting people. And there's been this subset of people that have just ghosted me. And I'm
Hmm.
like, this is weird because I have these solid, strong friendships. And then yet there's this like segment of people that has just kind of like disappeared. And when I write to them or try to call them, I'm just it's they won't respond anymore.
Hmm.
And so I'm just like, okay, well, at some point I realized that that's a them issue and not a me
Hmm.
issue. Like if they're not going to show up and have the dignity and the courage and use their voices to end
Hmm.
a relationship with me respectfully, that's not on me. My actions were fine in this relationship. Like I was a normal person to them just like I am to everybody else. And yet for whatever reason they chose to just pull away silently. And so there was kind of like this pivot in my life where I stopped blaming myself because in the past I was like, "Oh, well what did I do wrong? Where
Hmm.
what it how come these people are not like where did they go? What did I do?" But then I stopped like blaming myself and I started
Hmm.
wondering, okay, what's going on with their social skills that they couldn't at least have the dignity to like say a couple of words to me to end this relationship with some respect. So,
Exactly.
yeah, so like the biggest transformation for me in being ghosted is just like realizing that I needed to treat myself better and have like a nicer internal monologue and like inner narrative, a story that I'm telling myself that isn't one of like, gosh, you're always doing something wrong. Look at all these people leaving you. I needed to focus on I have a very rich, vibrant social life. Like I have really close connections, and I'm so grateful that the people I choose are choosing me, and we have like these deep connections where if there is an issue or if they need to take some time away from the friendship or whatever, they're going to express it to me and share. And there's usually like a season and a reason for that. So
Mm-hmm.
I've really worked on building like secure relationships that I feel safe and comfortable in. And in a really odd way, I'm kind of glad that the people who have ghosted aren't in my life, because I really want to intentionally now choose people who are good communicators, who can express themselves if there's an issue or a conflict, or even if they're just like they had a baby and they just need some time with the baby and they're just like, well, now I just can't really show up, but they can at least use their words to tell me these kind of things. So I've been
Exactly.
through, yeah, right. Like, so I think a lot of people go through this ghosting thing, but it's just like the way you look at it, I think is really what's going to make the biggest difference in your healing.
And you know what? Now that I've thought about it more and just listening to you, I'm like, you know what? I have been ghosted. I didn't even really
Mm,
think of it as ghosting.
mm.
But I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking about it as you're talking. I'm like, you know what? I have experienced ghosting. One was from a dating aspect to where I was talking to a guy. We went out for like 3 dates. Third date, it was at my home. I cooked dinner, yada, yada, yada. Well, he thought third time was a charm and, he was going to get the goods. When that did not happen, he, got upset and left. And I never heard from him again. 2 years later, out of the blue, he texted me and was like, hey, I'm like, huh? Who are you? Like, I
It's
had
always the
already
hay.
forgot.
It's always the hay.
I had forgotten about him. Like I deleted his number, like everything. And like he was just talking to me as if we talked like last week. And I'm like, first of all, who are you? And he was like, I guess getting upset because I didn't remember him. I'm like, God, that was 2 years ago. I never heard anything from you once you found out, we weren't doing anything. So I moved on with my life. Like, who are you just out of the blue now, just calling me as if we just talked last week? And then it was another situation. Actually, it was a family member. So my stepmom, like, basically just stopped talking to me for no reason. And I never understood why. I'm like, what did I do? Like, I'm sitting here questioning myself. Like, I mean, did I say something? Like, what? I mean, what? And she did that not once, but twice. And we actually just started back talking again recently, like in the past
Mm.
week, but we have not spoken to each other like in 2.5 years. Um,
Mm.
and now we're back talking, but yeah, I never got an explanation about why she just stopped communicating with me. It was just like, and I kind of think I have an idea of why, but she's just never told me why. But I think I have an idea why. So I'm like, you know what? I have been ghosted. I take that
Yeah,
back.
you have been ghosted. And wow. Okay, the first one, that guy is like a blazing red flag. So glad that you just kind of put him in his place and you're like, I don't even know who you are. What are you doing? Go away. Sounds like you kind of nipped that one in the bud.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And this stepmom one, so this is really complicated, I think, because it sounds like she kind of came back and acted like, did she act like nothing happened? She
Yeah,
didn't
like
kind of.
we talked, like she calls me just about every day now. Like it's like she was waiting for me to reach out to her, even though she's the one that cut off the connection. And I think it had something to do with me being in a relationship, and she felt like she was no longer, I guess, had a place, or she felt uncomfortable. Um, with me now having a family, because she was my family, was me, her, and my son. And then when I started dating somebody and he came with kids, and then I guess she looked at it as, oh, okay, she has her own little family now. She don't need me no.
Did she verbally tell you that?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
It
so
was
this,
just the way
yeah.
how when we would have conversations, how she would react to mentioning the word family, or if I would tell her something we were doing, and it was just like her tone and the way she it was like she didn't, I guess, yeah, she felt some type of way about me having a new family.
Huh. That is so interesting. Well,
And that she literally just stopped. I would call her, she would never answer. Like I'm thinking like things are great. Like what's going on? And then all of a sudden, and then I just stopped calling her. I'm like, you know what? It's obvious you don't want to talk to me. I don't know what I did to you, but okay, whatever.
wow, this is a really interesting situation. And I'm really happy that this person has circled back to your life because it sounds like she is an important figure for you.
She is because I don't
Yeah,
have a relationship with my biological mom. So she was always
right.
kind of like my mom figure.
Yeah. This is a little separate than your story, but I just want to say in general, I do happen to have a protocol for people to go through when a ghost comes back.
Hmm.
And I, the reason why I'm saying it's separate is because I'm not on this show to give you personal advice about your relationship with her, but I do want to say that I can, if you would like me to, I can go through the five kind of
Hmm.
pillars that I have of kind of to what it might take to rebuild when a ghost returns, if you want to
Oh
hear it.
yeah, definitely. This is authentic conversation. So give
Okay.
me what you got.
Okay.
Which,
So
I'm always the type that handle, people with long handle spoons anyway. So I'm like, I'm just gonna kind of see what her, motives are, intentions are, but keep her, at a distance and just kind of feel her out.
okay, I think that's brilliant, right? That is the best thing you can possibly do to take a step back and observe her behavior because people can change, but they often don't.
Hmm.
And if this former ghost is trying to restart this relationship with you and you want to do the same, there are some bare minimum green flags to look out for.
Hmm.
And the first is that I think it's important that ghosts take full ownership for their behavior. So if this person has denied that they ghosted, they didn't acknowledge the elephant in the room, which is that they disappeared for several years.
Hmm.
If they make excuses or they even try to blame you, that's not really healthy. So I think, maybe having a conversation about this to and seeing if they can actually acknowledge their behavior to try to figure out the root of what caused this would be helpful in deepening the relationship. So that's the first one is for them to take ownership of what happened. And then also, I would like a ghost to apologize and express deep remorse and acknowledge any potential pain that they've caused you. Like, three is empathy, because if
Hmm.
somebody's actually changed, they're going to recognize how their silence hurt you and really demonstrate this actual understanding of what it is that they did. Another thing is in this whole conversation, if they ask, how can I make this right? What do you need from me moving forward? And they actually respect your boundaries, doing everything they can to prove that they've changed, that is a great sign. Like, that's what you want to look for to see if somebody has actually leveled up their behavior. And then five is that they rebuild trust with you through consistent actions. I mean, I think the most important thing here is what if they do it again? How do we know
Hmm.
that they're not just going to peace out? If you mention the word family or something like that, right? Change is proven over time. So it's important to see, are they pulling back? Are they disappearing again? Like, just to make sure that they're consistently treating you with respect. So those are the things I think are important. I honestly haven't really seen very many cases of successful reconciliation. All
Hmm.
five pillars I think need to be met. I think sweeping a ghosting incident that's extreme under the rug is something that really is unhealthy for the relationship in the long run. And
Hmm.
you do you. I have full confidence in your ability to repair, and like I love the way you were talking about this. I'm
Hmm.
just saying in general for anybody who's listening, like these are the five things that I would look out for if you want to be back with the ghost.
Exactly. Yeah, because it not only affected me, but it also affected my son, who,
Of
he saw
course.
her as his nana. Like that was his nana. And that was actually one of the reasons why I did reach back out to her because just unfortunately my relationship did end. And I guess he's always, it's always been just me and him. And he's known I've always wanted a family. He's always wanted a family. And so he just kept asking, like, could I call his nana? Could I call his nana? And I kept putting it off and I kept putting it off. And I was just like, you know what? I still had her number and everything. Her number has never changed. So I knew that, that part was going to be consistent. I was like, okay, and I kept telling him that I was going to do it. And then finally I just sat down. I was like, you know what? I'm going to call her, but I put him on the phone at first just to see like how she would react and everything. And, he was talking to her. He's like, I miss you. And, my son is 7. And so it kind of went from there. I let him talk to her first, and then I kind of came in and kind of started it at that. And then now, like, she calls every day and, she talks to me, she talks to him. But I am a very cautious person when it comes to even people that are family or family-like in my son's life and also in mine, because I hate inconsistency. I hate people who don't, not saying I hate people, but I hate the behaviors of people, who come in and out of your life. And so I feel like if you're not going to stay, if you're not going to, be a permanent fixture, then just leave us alone, because too many people have come in and out of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when
I
he
hear
gets
you.
attached to someone, he gets attached, because my son is also autistic. So even building relationships with people in general is already hard enough for him. So when he gets attached to you and then you're not there, then yeah, it really affects him.
Well, I'm glad that your son has his Nana back, and I hope that this relationship lasts forever and is wonderful.
Yes, we're definitely going to work on it. Like, I'm not going to just jump back in because we did everything together. Like, she literally had been there since he was born. So
Yeah.
that's who he knew as his nana. And then, like,
Mm.
bam, she was gone. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's this is a challenging thing, but I trust that you'll get through it. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So, do you mind, I guess sharing, you don't have to go too deep into it, but I guess one of your experiences with the ghosting situation?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So I was ghosted, it was at least 10 years ago. Let me just go back to the beginning. I was ghosted by a friend when I was 5 years old, according to my parents. I don't really remember it very well. I remember I was friends with this girl and then all of a sudden she wasn't there anymore, but like we didn't have a conversation about it. But I was then ghosted. I think I was 16 again when I was ghosted. And that was really bad. It was in high school. And I remember walking up to this girl to try to talk to her, and she just turned around and walked away. And
Oh.
that was extraordinarily painful. I was super depressed after that. And then I was ghosted again in dating a little bit, but the biggest one that really kind of transformed me, and I'd call it the inspiration for coping with ghosting, was I was 27 years old. I thought that I would be married, but unfortunately, I was not. And I was dating, and I was dating this guy, really liked him. And he invited me on this road trip across multiple states, and I couldn't go with him because I was in grad school. And oh my gosh, this is so painful to even think about, but like I said, I can't go on this trip. And then I never heard from him again. And I thought he died. I really
Oh, wow.
thought, I Googled his name and the word obituary. I Googled his name and the word car accident. I thought something had happened, because why would somebody ask you to go on a long trip with them and then disappear immediately after that? And I called him and I emailed him. I knew where he lived. I knew where he worked, but I also didn't want to be the creepy person that like showed up at his front door or his job. And I was friends with his friends on social media. So I looked online and I saw that they were posting pictures of like food. And I'm like, okay, if somebody's best friend just died, he wouldn't be posting pictures of food. So like I knew that this guy was alive.
Mm.
And it dawned on me, oh my gosh, he's ghosting me, because now it's been like at least a week. And then 2 months later, I saw because I was still following him on social media, and I saw his engagement pictures. He was engaged like within 2 months or so.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my gosh, he probably was dating her when he was dating me. Who is this girl? And so then I like went down this rabbit hole of comparison. And mind you, I was already really, really depressed about this. I remember I was taking some anti-anxiety medication. I was feeling less than. My self-worth had plummeted. I was kind of just like obsessing over this situation. Like, where did I go wrong? What was my problem? I wasn't thinking about it. Like today, if I were to look back on this experience, I mean, I am looking back on this experience and I'm thinking, what was his issue is what I'm thinking now. Like, what happened? Was he too scared? Was he dating her at the same time and he was embarrassed, or she found out about me? Like, what happened? I don't know. But I also don't want to kind of go down the rabbit hole of assumptions, because ultimately people ghost because they're unable or unwilling to end a relationship with respect. That's it. People ghost because they're either unable or unwilling to end a relationship with respect. They're either choosing to do this intentionally on purpose, or it's completely accidental. I mean, I know I've accidentally ghosted people. Like sometimes, I think there was one time on a dating app where like, I don't know why, but like I deleted the dating app, but then I realized like I was talking to somebody or a few people, or like I'd gone on a date with one guy, but then I deleted the dating app and I couldn't get in contact with him again. So like there are cases of accidental ghosting for sure. Somebody's phone could be in a well somewhere. Like it happens. But
Yes.
yeah, my story of that, like kind of, I'm excited about these things like this friendship in kindergarten, this friendship in high school, this guy I'm dating. I'm super happy about all of it. And then all of a sudden it just like it goes away. It's so traumatic, like for me. And I'm not saying it's traumatic for everybody. I think we all react to being ghosted in a different way, like especially depending on our histories and our attachment styles and all of that. But like for me, it just hit this core abandonment wound. I had a very anxious attachment style, and it took me to a whole new low. And so I've done everything in my power to become securely attached, to become healthier in the way I show up in relationships, to not make, like in this case, this guy was so important, like that him leaving triggered a massive self-esteem event for me, right? But now I'm like at a point where my self-esteem, my self-worth, like how I see myself isn't determined by other people, right? Or their ability to show up or not. Like my
Exactly.
self-worth and my like knowing who I am and my love for myself is independent of other people at this time. And it's taken a long time for me to get there, but I would say ghosting inspired that, because, when somebody leaves your life, it creates all this space and time, and you can choose how to fill your space and time. Are you going to fill it wallowing in self-pitying like I did originally? Like I drowned myself in Ben and Jerry's ice cream. I was so depressed. I would numb with binge watching TV. But ultimately, I realized like, I don't like being here. I could stay depressed forever. I could stop trusting men completely. I could never have a relationship again. But instead, I was like, I'm going to flip this experience on its head, and I'm going to make it the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm going to learn about boundaries. I'm going to learn about loving myself. I'm going to learn about positive self-talk and all these things that are going to transform my life to make it better, because I have more time now that this guy is out of my life. I'm not dating him now. So I really took it to heart and decided to make this one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Wow. Yeah, I remember when I was because I did have a lot of self-esteem issues too, just because I went through a lot of trauma as a child into adulthood. So I used to tell people, like, my son has separation anxiety. so he gets attached to people. And I would tell people I had like reverse of separation anxiety. Like I'm the one that would leave. Like if a relationship was toxic, I would be the one to leave. If a friendship was toxic or just not working, and I always felt like I always had to be the one to make the decision to leave a relationship, whether it was romantic or, family or whatever. Um, and that made me feel some type of way because I got so used to people just not being in my life and being reliable and people for me to count on, to where the point I had to make that decision, like, this isn't working. And it made me feel like there was something wrong with me. Like maybe my expectations were too high, or maybe I just, and just in my healing journey, and I had to learn, like, no, it's not me, it was them.
Right.
They weren't meeting where I needed them to be, so I had to make the decision to leave because they weren't going anywhere. They loved how things were, what our relationship was, but I was the one that had the problem with it because it was affecting me negatively, not in a positive way. So they're never going to end anything that works for them.
Got it. Exactly. I'm glad you had that realization.
Yeah, because it really made me like, what is wrong with me? Like, I really would sit there and like down and talk to them, like, well, maybe, things happen to me because I'm a bad person, or like I
No.
was a bad person in another life, or, I'm reaping some consequences I didn't know that was sown to me. And I'm just like, no, you know what? No. I'm the most kind-hearted person you can meet. Like, it's the
Yeah.
people. It's not me. Not saying that I'm perfect or never at fault for anything, but I'm like, in these situations, I knew I didn't do anything wrong. I just had to make that decision that this was not healthy for me. This was not good for me. And I had to leave. And it just made me feel some type of way to always have to be making that decision because people just couldn't meet me where I needed them to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you know this about yourself now. It's such a empowering
Yes.
moment.
Definitely, definitely. Because yeah, I've always felt like I was alone in this world, and I'm like, that's the one thing I've never wanted to be, is alone.
Mm.
Like, just I've never had a relationship with my parents. My siblings were separated by distance, so we don't really have a close So basically, my closest relationship is my son.
Mm.
I have my friendships and things like that, but I guess that was always the little hurt, unhealed girl in me that wanted to surround myself with people who loved me, because at that time I didn't love myself.
Mm. Yeah. I hear you. And I think I mean, it is a universal need. We all need love and human connection.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So outside of your ghosting podcast and your upcoming book, what else do you find yourself getting into?
Haha. I just laugh haha because I'm a big dork. I'm a huge nerd. I love like reading and learning about different things.
I do.
So I have a wide variety of interests. Actually, what's really funny is I have a friend that we get together maybe once a month or so, and we have this night called Dine and Discover,
Hmm.
where we have this like Google Doc, and it's all the topics that we want to learn about. So
Mm.
like we just like one topic example was the Cold War. Like, what was the Cold War? What exactly happened during the Cold War? What do we need to
Hmm.
know about the Cold War and how it impacts our politics today? And then I just added the topic of vaping because I think that's a really interesting, that's another epidemic, and that's something people
Hmm.
do, I think, a lot after they've been ghosted. They try to numb and distract from the pain, and so they're using nicotine to do it, or even alcohol. But I just wanted to learn more about the vaping epidemic and what's really going on in big tobacco and how that influences politics and all of that. And so I just kind of like, I love learning. I'm a lifelong learner.
Hmm.
And so that's something that I've been doing. And I just listen to a lot of podcasts and audiobooks, like currently reading a book about finances. And so, I'm always trying to expand and broaden my horizons and then try to circle it back to see, okay, well, how is our society? How is this greater structure of society? How is it impacting ghosting as well? Like social media. How does watching content for a couple of seconds and getting a quick hit of entertainment, how does that impact our relationships? Are we swiping on people in the same way we're swiping on social media? Are we disposing of people the same way we just kind of like pass by different like topics on social media? I don't know. So this is just, I just love learning. So that's like one big thing that I've been doing on the side.
Yeah, I definitely am a learner too. Like I can hear something and it like just like, ooh, okay, so what's that? And it was some, I'm trying to think of what it was the other day that I saw somebody refer to on social media, and I had never heard of it and didn't know what it was. I'm like, you know what? I can't remember what the word. It was like a word or something. And I was just like looking it up and I'm like, oh, so that's what that means. And like even like with my son, like he watches, different shows and stuff, and he'd come back, Mom, this is a one thing he says, a big back. I'm like, what the heck is a big back? And I'm like, and like he always says that, and I'm like, what is that? I don't know. And to this day, I still don't know. I need to research it to find out what exactly does it mean. But like that's how I am when I hear things that are unfamiliar, or I'm like curious, and like I'm just always curious about learning. So I literally will research things and just dig and dig and dig to see how far I can get to just learn more about the world and everything that it entails, because it's always evolving, and there's just like one day there's something that's a fad, and then the next day it's gone, and then there's something else to replace it. Like it's just all constantly evolving.
Yes, for sure. It's a lot to keep up with.
Definitely. Like I see a lot of people, talk about different shows and things, and I'm like, I don't remember the last time I actually sat down and watched TV.
Mm.
I don't know. Like people will talk about me. Oh, did you hear the new album by such and such? And I'm like, no. I'm like, my music stopped at 2005. Anything after that, I don't really care for.
That's
I'm
hilarious.
usually listening to books. I'm not a TV person. I'm not. I mean, I love music, but I don't really like music of today. So
Mm.
I'm kind of stuck in my old school, music. But yeah, I read books. That's my TV. That's my entertainment. That's what I do. That's how I keep up, with
Mm.
the world, because I'm not a TV person.
Got it. Yeah. And I appreciate that too. I think that's great. I think media has a really big impact on us. And so it's wonderful that you're extremely selective about what you're choosing to allow into your life.
Hmm. Because I'll see like posts and stuff on Facebook, and I'm like, okay, and I just scroll past it. Like I'm not even going to engage or even entertain
Yes.
this, because it's just not good. That's why I don't listen or watch the news, because
Hmm.
it's always so depressing. I'm like,
Hmm.
if there's something important in the world that I need to know, I will definitely find it, find out about it, like on, Google or whatever, news channel, but I will not sit and watch the news.
I think that's great. I mean, honestly, it is so hard to process. It's a lot of additional stress. I try to listen to news recaps so that
Hmm.
I understand what's going on because I do think it's important to be informed because I am voting. And so I want to know, what is happening in this world. But at the same time, I do not need to fill my brain with it like all the time. 100%
Hmm.
of the day. Like I know some people do that and their nervous system is just zapped.
Yep.
It's so stressful. It's up and
I remember when I
down.
would go visit my stepmom, like that sure channels were always on the news, and I'm like, so you don't watch anything else? Like it's recapping the same horrible
Yeah.
stories all day long. Like
Yeah,
this is depressing. I can't do
exactly.
this. And
Yeah.
I'm an empath, and I feel deep emotions for people that I don't even know. Just hearing situations or seeing, horrible situations, like it affects me. So I have to be careful about what I allow myself to, ingest, I guess you would say. Because
Yes.
yeah, it will affect my mood or affect, the way I think, and I don't like it.
Yeah. Media literacy is so important. So I'm actually on my podcast, I'm having a guest come on soon to discuss media and how it affects people and how to be more selective about it and how it relates to ghosting. So I love this conversation. I think it's, if anybody's listening and they are addicted to the news, I would just try to do, I would recommend a cleanse,
Hmm.
a media cleanse, and just try to avoid news for 1 week and just see how you feel after. What's the difference in your body?
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, my mom used to watch a lot of news too, and like I had this huge fear of fire. Like
Yeah.
I had this huge fear of fire. And I remember like I would literally dream just from hearing the news. It was always a hotel room was catching on fire. Somebody's house was catching on fire. This was catching on fire.
Yeah.
And so it seeped into my just unconsciousness when I was asleep. And I would picture myself in these scenarios. And it just
Mm,
like, oh my gosh, it was horrible.
that's really
So,
scary. Yeah.
and it kind of just embodied my fear of fire
Hmm.
because yeah, I was always seeing and hearing horrible things related to fires, and it messed with my psyche really bad.
Yeah, that's scary.
So yeah, I made a vow to stop watching the news.
Love it. Yeah. That's self-care right there.
Definitely, because yeah, I try to be conscious of the things that I use because it really affects people and they don't realize how much it actually does.
Hmm. Right. Yeah. Has a huge impact.
It does. All right. Is there anything else you would like to share? Any websites, your podcast link, anything like that before we jump into the next segment?
Sure. So the podcast is Coping with Ghosting, and you can find it on YouTube or any many major podcast players. And you can join my Coping with Ghosting Facebook group. It's a free support group online, and I think members are very, very happy. Like they post their issues or questions or concerns or anything ghosting related, and we always like to respond and support them. So that is a really nice community to be part of. And I also have coaching services available on my website. So visit copingwithghosting.com and you can sign up for coaching with me and I can help you flip this experience of being ghosted on its head, or if you've been through any betrayal, been cheated on, anything like that. I would love to help you rebuild your life and help you transform your mindset around this. And yeah, so those are the things that I have right now. I'm also working on my book, Coping with Ghosting in Love. And yeah,
Mhm.
that's how you can connect with me. I'm at Coping with Ghosting on all the social media sites. So find me there.
And is the Coping with Ghosting, is that going to be your first book?
Yes, it's going to be my first book. I'm so excited about it, but I don't know when it's going to come out because I'm still writing it. It's taken at least a year. My goodness, but I want it
Oh,
to be really
wow.
good and answer everybody's questions about everything.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, yeah, I completely understand. You definitely got to take your time with it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have come to my favorite part of the show where we play What is she thinking? So
Mhm.
I will give you five random phrases. You'll tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. Don't have to think too hard about it. Just something fun to get to know you after a great conversation.
Perfect.
What is she thinking? What are her thoughts? Quick, fast, no blinking. What do you got?
All right. So your first one is going to be ghosting is.
Highly unfortunate.
Yes, yes, definitely unfortunate. And it's so crazy. Yeah, just during our conversation, I realized, like, you know what? I have been ghosted. Just thinking about it, I guess I just never really thought about it. But yeah, I actually just, I'm like, oh yeah, I actually have. Now, I don't think I've ever ghosted anybody myself. I don't, unless if it was accidental. But I don't think, no, I've ever intentionally ghosted anyone.
Yeah.
All right, so your next one is going to be my favorite ice cream is.
Peanut butter and chocolate with gummy bears.
Oh wow, peanut butter and chocolate with gummy bear. Ooh, that's an interesting combination.
I know.
All right, so your next one is going to be if I could be any animal, I would be.
Hmm. I don't know. Maybe a bunny? I
A
don't know.
bunny?
It's just
That's
so
so
cute.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is cute and fluffy. All right, so your next one is going to be my biggest challenge in life.
My biggest challenge in life. I would say maybe I honestly I don't I guess in the past it was being ghosted. That was definitely my biggest challenge in life. And I know it just took me like a minute to think about that and it's pretty obvious. But yes, I think that was at some points in my life the biggest challenge.
Okay. All right, so the last one is going to be I'm not consistent if I don't.
I just thought shower.
Oh, wow. We definitely want to be consistent with that.
Yeah, that was the first thought.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This was a very good conversation.
Oh my goodness, it was my pleasure. I'm so happy that you had me on. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I hope you have an amazing day.
You do the same, and thank you everyone for listening. Don't forget to follow the podcast on all major podcasting platforms. Also, follow us on social media. We are BFF Empowerment Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, and also Facebook. Visit the website at bffempowermentpodcast.com to keep up to date with the latest episodes and also follow the blog. There's always a blog post to go with each episode. And if you want to be spotlighted on the Women on the Rise segment of the BFF Empowerment Podcast, send an interest email to bffempowerment@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review or a rating on your favorite podcast platform to help others discover their next women's empowerment podcast. And until next time, everyone, thank you so much for listening.
Yay, that was amazing.